The Seal of Biliteracy application is now open at fcps.net/language for seniors. The Seal of Biliteracy is a certificate of language achievement that is obtained by demonstrating that you can read, write, speak, and listen in English as well as any other world language. You must demonstrate proficiency in English through ACT, SAT, AP, or Access exam scores. You must also take the APPLE or STAMPS exam to demonstrate your skills in other world languages you speak. This year, the APPLE and STAMPS exams are free due to the pandemic. The application closes on February 19th. Email Ms. Cope or your world language teacher for more information.
Good morning. My name is Wendy Rogers, and I am the counselor for the Biomed program here at Douglas. And in honor of National School Counseling Week, we are all recording a message to share with students and staff about a particular topic. My topic is perseverance, and particularly right now during virtual learning when things are not as easy and have not been easy for some time, perseverance is particularly important. But I think sometimes people don't persevere because they are afraid of working through those stumbling blocks. I mean, everybody has stuff that they're afraid of. I know that I do. So we've each been gifted a superhero to use as an example, and my superhero is Thor. And in the movie Thor literally runs toward his problems and meets them head on. And I'm not necessarily saying that running toward your problems is the best idea, but I think that you can only run away from them for so long. And if you have particular reasons for not persevering and you want to talk about those, I am happy to be there to listen. Or I would suggest that you talk to a friend or a family member or another counselor here in the building or a trusted adult so that you can meet those problems head on and find a solution that works best for you and be able to move forward and achieve your goals. I hope you have a lovely day and rest of your week, and thanks for sharing a little bit of your morning with me.
Good morning. Principal Diaz here with your morning announcements for Thursday, February 4th. It is an A day. We're going to follow our A day schedule. Remember, our expectation is that you participate in all the Zoom calls and you are with your teacher during the synchronous time, that you complete all your assignments during the asynchronous time, and you turn in your work on time, right? Be safe, be respectful, and be responsible are our PBIS pillars that we use here at school, and we are providing rewards and we are keeping track of PBIS scores for students. So you want to do a good job and make sure that you are participating in your classes and you are engaging in the lessons. Guys, I want to send a big shout out to our basketball teams, our girls and boys basketball teams. They're both having a great year. This is probably the best girls basketball team we've had in quite some time here at Douglas. They're doing a great job and playing outstanding basketball. And our boys team is killing it, man. They are 6-1. They've only lost one game. They had to shut down for a while due to contact tracing and the COVID virus. But other than that, they really are doing very well, playing a lot of good basketball. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about African American and Black History Month. And I know, Diaz, you talked about Jackie Robinson. He's an athlete. You talked about some of your Afro-Caribbean influences, and Karl Anthony Towns is an athlete, and Tim Duncan is an athlete. But it's not all about the athletes, right? I want to spend a little bit of time today talking about some of the famous inventors, right? And some of my favorite inventions and some of the most popular inventions. So there's a gentleman by the name of Louis, hold on. Let's see here. Yeah, Louis Latimer, and he invented the actual film that goes inside of the light bulb. So he worked very closely with Thomas Edison and Alexander Graham Bell, and when they were putting electrical when they were running electricity through light bulbs, they couldn't get the filament just right. And that's where Mr. Lewis Latimer came in, and he helped design the light bulb as we know it today. Now the light bulb has changed and has evolved, but initially he was one of the four founders of how that worked. Now, this is Lonnie Johnson, and Lonnie's invented one of my favorite inventions. That is the Super Soaker water gun. I was talking about Lonnie this morning and the Super Soaker water gun, and one of my co-workers was sharing a story on how they would hide them all throughout the backyard. So if they ever ran out of the water, they would just run to the other hiding spot and grab the other Super Soaker water gun. So it's practical and fun, the inventions that we're talking about today. Frederick McKinley Jones had about 60 patents, but he was very good at refrigeration, and he was the first person to put a refrigerator on the roof of a truck, right? Why would you put a refrigerator on the roof of a truck? Well, it turns out that when you're moving food across the country, or during World War II, when you're taking blood and you have to give someone a blood transfusion, you need that blood to be refrigerated, and you got to go to some of these hospitals that are out in the front line. And that invention was actually extremely productive, and a lot good came from putting a refrigerator on top of a truck. He eventually started a company and made a lot of money. Let's see, it was Thermo King, I think was the name of the company. But these folks put refrigerators on top of trucks, and now you see them all over when you're on the road driving around. And even the COVID vaccine that requires refrigeration, you have these trucks that are highly sophisticated with some of these refrigerated items. All right, so James E. West, he was one of the forefront inventors of the electric microphone. Right now, we take it for granted. We have a microphone and we talk into the microphone, but how those vibrations turn into sound from our voice to the microphone and into speakers was one of the things that Mr. James was instrumental in inventing. And of course, he's an African American. Miss Corbett, Dr. Corbett, her name is let me see, how do I say that? Kiznika Corbett is a current researcher. She's an African American female, an African American woman that is right now working for the National Institute of Health, and she's one of the lead scientists for the coronavirus and helped develop the Moderna corona vaccine, which is being administered across the United States right now. So that's really relevant to some of the inventions that I'm going to talk about. Were old. Some of the inventions that I'm going to talk about, like this one, are happening right now. Otis Boykin is credited for working with electronics and resistors, and he is credited for the pacemaker. That's a device that goes into your heart. When your heart stops working, it provides a little electrical shock and keeps your heart pumping. So that's huge. A lot of folks that have heart issues have had pacemakers put in, and Mr. Boykin made that possible. All right, Mary Van Britton Brown. Miss Van Britton Brown was an African-American nurse in Queens who often felt unsafe at night on her way home alone. So she devised a camera system that could slide into and look through peepholes in front of her door and appeared to on a monitor. She later added a microphone to speak to anyone. So you have that door ring technology that folks are using now. Well, she put that together in 1969. So you got to be pretty clever to come up with something like that. Hats off for the home security system innovator in the United States, and happens to be Miss Mary Van Britton Brown. All right, Mark Dean. Mark Dean is a computer scientist, one of the chief engineers for IBM in the early 1980s. He was part of a 12-person team that developed the first IBM PC, and he also developed the first color monitor. Good for that, right? Because if all black and white monitors, that would not be good, especially for you video gamers out there. He developed the first gigahertz processor in 1999. So pretty smart computer scientist, Mr. Mark Dean. Black History Month. All right, we are all familiar with Garrett Morgan Elementary. Well, Garrett Morgan Elementary is named after a gentleman, Garrett Morgan, who is the originator of the 3-light traffic light. Some of its earlier inventions were the improvements to the sewing machine and gas masks that were eventually taken to World War I. By adding the yellow light, the yellow yield light, that was one of his brainchilds to the stoplight. And this was created in 1924. Okay, the last one I want to speak about is the first self-made millionaire. The first African-American self-made millionaire was Madame C.J. Walker. And she was the first person to start creating and generating in bulk specialized hair products for African-American hair care. And this took place in the early 1900s. She opened a factory, a beauty school in Pittsburgh, and in 1908, then moved her operations to Indianapolis in 1910. So Madame C.J. Walker. We have got entrepreneurs, we've got inventors, we've got all kinds of doctors, and we have all kinds of innovators and inventors within our Black History Month message for today. That's all the announcements I have for you. I'm Lester Diaz, and it is an honor and a privilege to serve you in this capacity.